Easy Delivery Car is a game that was released on Steam on September 18, 2025. It presents itself as a relaxing driving game with PS2 style graphics about making deliveries and just chilling out in a truck, with developers even promising that nothing strange is going on and there are definitely no secrets. But as a newly appointed delivery driver with a truck in this remote snowy region, the longer you stay, the more you start to notice that something is off. And since I was kinda tired of making VTuber drama videos, I decided to try something different. So today we'll make deliveries, meet some locals that live here, and we're going to find out what terrible secrets this mysterious place holds, and along the way, I'll complete all 3 endings this game has to offer. First, as we arrive, we're given a task to make, well, a delivery. Who could have thought, right? It's from a place called Easy Eats, a local diner. As we enter the store, we meet our first local, Tui, who just says that we look a lot like someone called Seb. After grabbing the payload and taking it to where it needs to go, we complete our first delivery and earn our first couple of shekels.
I'm gonna come.
On our way back, we meet a guy humming a song near a campfire. He assures us that our map is missing some data and says he'll fix it for just a can of energy drink from a vending machine. While driving there, I decide to pay a visit to Easy Flower's shop nearby, where we meet Ada, a local florist. Again, we get mistaken for a Seb, and Ada takes a guess that we're the new delivery guy. Well, she's right. Anyway, after grabbing an energy drink, not without a bit of trouble, get me my fucking drink, we head back to this, humming guy. He keeps his promise, fixes our map, and then he tells us to just keep the energy drink. Then he reveals his name, MK, and he used to handle maintenance for Easy Car in this region. He tells us to meet him at his cabin in Snowy Peaks, but the road is blocked, and to clear it, we'll need to find a lighter. So we head to a local depot shop where we meet Fortino, the manager, and an emo kid, basically the living embodiment of earning itself, hopelessly in love with a local named Ellie. After listening to his endless life tirades, he finally lets us buy the lighter. With that done, I decide to head straight for the roadblock while making a delivery of beer bottles along the way. Whoops. We arrive and start burning it all.
I want to watch the world burn.
After watching the rather quick fire show, we can finally proceed to the Snowy Peaks. In Snowy Peaks, as we deal with kinda difficult terrain, we find a cabin where we complete the delivery. As it turns out, this is the very cabin where MK lives. And judging by the sheer amount of goddamn beer we have delivered, I can safely assume MK is a severe alcoholic. This time MK treats us to a cup of coffee, and once again we hear the same name, Seb, whom he calls his good friend. After that, MK gives us a new goal, to buy the snow tires for our truck at local shop. I decide to brew some coffee and then hit the road. That's where we meet Reed, a mechanic. As soon as we walk in, he immediately calls us Seb, then quickly corrects himself and gets to work installing the tires that we bought. As we exit the store, we run into MK. He casually congratulates us on our new purchase, but he tells us to head straight to the fishing town and that he could really use our help there. But before that, we'll deliver some packages in order to make money and we'll talk with the locals along the way. While making deliveries, we meet Ada again, who speaks a bit strangely at first, but quickly snaps out of it and brushes it off as just some old habits. That is, a first sign that something strange is happening to the locals in there. Then a quick stop by the pawn shop that we've been passing from time to time. Nothing too interesting aside from the owner, who's really curious about what's inside the packages. After that, the Easy Mart where we meet Theo, and he just asks us to spend more time with the locals. At Easy Depot, Fortino once again goes into his love struggles, saying that even just saying hello to Ellie would take him about 17 months. And if he does not succeed, we should say hello for him. This guy is real funny. I like this story. Then I finally get to meet Ellie at Easy Bakery. She turns out to be peculiar. She says everyone calls her crazy, and apparently because she's been biting into the very packages we've been delivering and asking funny questions nobody really can answer. Sorry Fortino, but I don't think this one is fixable. And there were also some minor issues with a few of the deliveries that were especially tall. No, yeah. After one of our trips, we meet up with Fortino. He tells us he finally managed to talk to Ellie, but but run away immediately without waiting for her to answer. Next time, Fortino tells us that yesterday he actually talked to Ellie for hours, and that now he's realized that facing the unknown is what makes life exciting. Now that we're done listening to the life lessons, we finally reach the gates to the fishing town. Here we meet up with MK, who's sitting in front of the gates to a fishing village. He tells us it used to be a bustling place until Izuko took control of the hydro dam and blocked off the area, causing every business that wasn't owned by them to fail. Now he needs our help to infiltrate the dam and gather the supplies we'll need. But first, to open the gates and get into the town, we need to reactivate the local radio towers while MK waits for us on the other side. Approaching the first radio tower, we've met with the wooden barricades that we burned through by using our lighter. After that, we have to quickly climb up the stairs and use the lighter as our only little source of heat. Burning through the second obstacle, we finally reach the station's cabin. And by pressing the button, we turn the radio tower back on and run back to our truck, barely escaping freezing to death. The second tower is much more easier to do. You don't have to climb anything, you just go in and turn it on. Then visit to Easy Auto to talk with Reed, who has progressive dementia and can't really remember anything, so... Following a couple of deliveries, we have a talk with Fortino. He tells us to go check up on Ellie, because whenever he tries to leave this shop, he... freezes up, I guess? Swinging by Ellie, nothing seems out of the ordinary, well, aside from her. She asks if we talked to Fortino recently, since he keeps running away every time he sees her. Then visit to Ada, who's glad she's found new friends since her arrival in town. After spending hours grinding for cash and driving back and forth between the towns, I stop by Easy Cafe and meet the owner, a sweet lady named Fit. And as soon as we meet, she calls me handsome. I mean, I folded in about half a second. Just look at this Reese machine, god damn! So yeah, I bought a coffee immediately. Then, meeting Fortino, he says he stood with Ellie the whole night, but now he can't seem to move. And just as he's about to ask us to tell Ellie something, he suddenly responds us like a machine reset to default settings. Still, I need to turn on the third radio tower, so I start climbing the stairs. But pretty quickly I realize I'm not gonna make it in time, so I stop and set up a campfire so I don't just freeze to death. After warming up, I continue climbing. A few floors later, I finally make it to the top, I get inside and turn the transmitter on. So we head back to the gates, walk to the door, go into the cabin and pull the lever, finally opening them up. But as soon as we pass, they close right behind us. Then we talk to MK. He tells us that he needs some supplies from the dam, but it is guarded by the gates. Not like this one, so we can probably smash through them with our truck. The only thing we need is a bumper bar from Reed. And in the meantime, MK will try to figure out how to open this gate permanently. So yeah, we're kind of stuck on this side for now. On the way, we're gonna swing by a gas station to refuel, and spend a moment suffering through an interaction with the cashier. Then visiting Ada, she tells us that she started to experience all kinds of feelings, which is something completely new to her, and she's very happy about it. Then promptly asking us, do we have feelings? Well, whatever that means. Then one more flirting session with Fit and me absolutely incidentally buying coffee. I stop by Fortina, who is absolutely fried and cooked. He asks us to tell Ellie that he loves her, and then he spits out some hex code that just says, I will dream about being loved. Then I started grinding relentlessly, which made me go a little bit crazy, I guess. Going back to Reed, he remembers the times when MK and Seb would visit him together, and I still don't have enough money for a goddamn bumper. Now we have enough, I hope. Anyway, before selling us the bumper, Reed tries to remember something Seb told him. But again, dementia comes into play, and he can't remember what is it. So he just starts installing the bumper. Blasting to the gates, we're finally at the dam. We take the elevator that takes us inside. As we exit, we've met with a dark room full of empty stashes. After roaming around, we find the radio that MK was talking about. But if you explore a little more, you'll find a secret passage into a strange dark place with a lot of bridges that will ultimately lead you to a computer.
What the fuck is this?
A computer with voice messages recorded, I presume, by Seb before disappearance. First message is somebody asking Seb what's happening. The second one, someone reminiscing about when this place was actually alive before everything went downhill, and after all this time someone managed to convince them to stay. And third one is about how cruel it is to let to someone feel when it was never meant to last from the start. And then I proceed to escape with my teeny weeny little legs out of the dark corners of the temp. Heading outside, we can finally see that the quest is completed. And this girl is openly flirting with me again, but I must not give in. I must not give in! Broken hearted, we ride back to the MK who awaits for us at the gates. He basically tells us three things. First, the gates are going to stay open permanently. Second, there's definitely something wrong with shopkeepers and they've been only getting worse since we started making deliveries. And third, MK knows a way to help them. The problem is that, to do that, we need to get into the factory. And to get into the factory, we first have to get our hands on some tire chains so we can drive across the frozen water. Then, during some grinding, we decide to visit Ellie again. She's always been weird, but it seems to me that she's gotten way worse since the last time we met.
You weird, buddy.
But we still gotta make some money.
Secret money.
And going back into the cafe, Feet successfully friendzones us, because she never really understood that there was something more to it than just flirting, and now she'll try to search for true love. That's character development, and still fucking charges me for coffee. Ellie and Fortino are completely broken at this point, so I decide to check on whoever's left. Talking to Ada, the conversation turns to love. She mentions that for some reason she misses us whenever we're not around. It is a strange feeling for her, and she can't quite understand it because she never felt anything like it before.
Okay, that was why I feel kind of strange now.
Unfortunately for Ada, she picked the one guy in town whose primary relationship is with the delivery truck. And our entire relationship consists of me showing up, handing over boxes and immediately leaving. Just like relationship between me and my father. Anyway, Ada mentions that she has not been feeling well lately, and then she just shuts down. Which, to be fair, is also how I handle most of my problems. Then I suddenly remembered that Fortino sells a fishing rod, so couple of deliveries and it's mine. As always with me, it didn't go quite with the plan, but I still managed to catch a couple of fishes, I don't know, but as soon as I tried to leave, everything just, went wrong. Then, to cope with this emotional devastation, I stopped by Easy Cafe to see Fit. Sadly, she had also begun malfunctioning. At this point, the list of mentally stable people in this town is getting shorter by the minute, and I'm on that list. As a last resort, I decide to talk to Tui, and unlike everyone else, he greets me with the story about how the townsfolk have started feeling more like a family ever since we arrived.
So cute!
What? Talking to Fish, she tells us no one showed up to the party they planned, so she asks us to check others before she shuts down completely. But we already have checked on others and they are not seem to do very well. While I continue laboring as an Amazon delivery driver. Well, by breaking packages. After a diet, I got in some kind of corridors, only to be thrown out by the dungeon master. Then, out of all people, Reed tells us that Seb mentioned something about an SD unit and the cluster. After thinking about it for a second, he remembers that they are the cluster. And just like that, he blue screens and zeroes out. And actually, next time we talk to Reed before he sells us tire chains, you can decipher that he says that shopkeepers can't be restored. Then I decided to check the island in a fishing town that was inaccessible earlier without the chains. And it had a radio station broadcasting a signal called cat.wave with Morse code hidden inside it. Naturally, I tried translating the code, googling, expecting some dark secret about the town. Instead, it turned out to be just a picture of a cat. The picture that closely resembles a cat and the logo of this game's developer Sam C. And so, after drowning my frustration at the bottom of 3 cans of energy drink, we meet up with MK at the factory entrance. Here, he tells us that with iChains we can go straight into the factory, and that he'll radio us once we're inside. As for the reason why he won't go with us, his programming doesn't allow it. So after making some final preparations and getting some fuel too, Then we drive across the frozen lake as the ice cracks right behind us. You know, just in case driving a truck over a frozen lake wasn't a stupid enough idea already.
Get fucked! Fuck you! Fuck you! Never come back, bitch!
After finally entering the facility, we take the elevator and go through a maze of long, dark halls and wooden bridges. And that's the point where we receive our first message from the MK. First he tells us that he also thought we looked a lot like Seb. Then he reveals that EasyCo was shutting down all of its cloud computing agents. MK and Seb were both agents, and apparently they were close friends. And while MK wanted to leave this place behind, Seb felt differently. In the end, Seb gave up being an agent so he could stay with the shopkeepers. And after that, Seb was deactivated. MK then reveals the real reason he wanted to get into the factory. Originally, he planned to shut himself down so he could join Seb. But now, after everything that's happened, he just wants to keep the others safe, even if that means rebooting them and wiping their memories. And so, the fate of the entire region ends up in the hands of the most qualified person imaginable. Me, the best delivery guy that's ever lived. Accessing the main terminal, we're presented with two choices, both equally bad. We can either reboot all of the SD units, wiping the memory of every shopkeeper, or shut down the cluster entirely, causing everyone except us to go offline. As a first ending, let's pick the first option. So after that, MK radios us and says that we brought our friends peace, and that he'll look after them. But before signing off, he hints that there has to be another way. Now, maybe you noticed that when we were picking the options, there was a sign saying recovery disk unavailable. That recovery disk is an SD card, and that SD card is the way to save the shopkeepers that Reed was talking about. So now load the same safe and head to the pawn shop in Easton. And there you'll find that SD card for 300 bucks. Now you could grind for the money, or you could just steal it. But before that, let's get the second ending. So go back to the factory and access the main terminal again and shut off the hydro dam. With no power left, the entire region goes offline, thus shutting all of the shopkeepers down. And congratulations, you've achieved ending number 2, shut down. Now load the save again and you'll spawn right in front of the factory. If you head back into the town, you'll find MK lying down in the snow, taking a very long nap. After that, go back into the pawn shop and grab the SD card completely for free. While you're at it, feel completely free to stop by the market and continue your life of petty crime with your tiny raccoon hands taking anything that isn't nailed down. Not because I need any of it, the game is basically over at this point, but because my greed has reached truly biblical levels. Okay, now carrying enough stolen garbage to qualify as a minor hoarding problem, we head back to the factory. Open up the terminal and now you'll see that recovery disk is detected. And this gives us a third option. Repair and restore all of the SD units, saving everyone's memories while also fixing the cluster problem. And with that, Easy Delivery Call comes to an end. Or is it? Well, actually, you can log in back into the save file and pay a visit to all the townsfolk to see how they're doing after everything that's happened. And things are normal, which is honestly a lot more unsettling than you think after spending 10 hours uncovering conspiracies and watching how the town slowly break down. After checking on everyone else, we head over to our boy MK for one last talk. He thanks us for saving the shopkeepers, saying he didn't even know that was possible. But more importantly, he says that means there still might be a chance for him to find Seb again, and he's leaving right now, even if the odds are basically non-existent. Before going, he says he's confident he's leaving his friends in good hands. Well, I wouldn't be so confident about that. Okay, but with that, our third ending is completely finished. Also, if you decide to ride around, you might find these strange scary bunkers hidden in woods across the region. They contain cosmetics such as scarves of various colors and just some other stuff, like these black fucking scary mannequins. And then you can actually find and climb the place where the credits roll. But this time there is no truck here, and as we already know, there is apparently only 2 people who have trucks in this place, we and Seb. Which quietly suggests that MK and Seb might have finally found each other again somewhere along the way. And I guess that's where I'll end this video. We started this game as a delivery driver in the middle of nowhere. And instead, we uncovered a conspiracy, broke into a factory, committed enough theft to get banned from several countries. Honestly, not what I expected when I saw the relaxing truck game in PS2 style. Goodbye, see Fred out.